As hard as it is to believe, it's actually been 5 years since I've made a video update on my Prince music collection. Unfortunately, and much to the shock of practically everybody I know, including myself, Prince passed away very shockingly and suddenly almost 4 weeks ago on Thursday, April 21st. There hasn't been an official ruling about what killed him yet. He died in an elevator. There's been a lot of suspicion, a lot of anger, confusion, but also a lot of celebration. Before I start, I wanted to add that between 2010 and 2013, there was literally nothing in the record stores from Prince. Nothing at all. No albums, no singles. There were just a small smattering of online singles he released on websites that would come and go, or through different medium, but nothing. And then all of a sudden, in 2014, it was announced that Prince was going to be releasing his music through Warner Brothers again, the record label that he was battling with through most of the 1990s. And he was going to be putting out 2 albums. One solo record, and one done with his new band called Third Eyed Girl. And they were released on the same day. This is the album by Prince and Third Eyed Girl. Let me see if I can open that up and show you. There's Prince right there. It was kind of an interesting idea to see Prince functioning as a band leader where other members actually sang and played on it, as well as him. The only problem with this album, which was called Plectrumelectrum, is that, for me personally, it is probably the very worst album of Prince's entire career. It's more or less a psychedelic rock album, but a lot of the material is just weak. My personal 2 favorites are the very funky Boy Trouble, sung with the 3 members of the group, and Funkin' Roll, which is actually repeated on the next album, this one, as a very clever title, Art Official Age. Love that pun. Prince actually got his afro back, which he had at the beginning of his career, and famously began appearing with the third-eyed shades. This is a really good album. This was produced by a young man named Joshua Welton, but there's some amazing music on here, like the jazzy funk of Breakfast Can Wait. Between Starfish and Coffee and Prince singing about life ain't nothing but a muffin, and Dave Chappelle doing skits about him involving pancakes after a basketball game, seemed like Prince really liked his breakfast, didn't he? Anyway, this also has another good song I love on it called The Gold Standard, which basically could have been a new Kiss for me. The Gold Standard, it's crazy amazing, he sings. I absolutely love this album. A lot of good cuts on it. Now, about a year later, Prince hooked up with Jay-Z and Beyonce's streaming company that's artist-owned, known as Tidal. Now, all you have to do is watch various YouTube videos and read the trade news to see how Tidal has been a very troubled enterprise, but Prince joined up with it and elected to release his next 2 albums featuring a Tidal-only release initially. I thought, you know, he's not going to be back in record stores again, but these albums did appear in record stores at different times, but they were both released during the same year. And those are these albums. They are called Hit and Run Phase 1 and Hit and Run Phase 2. Now, this album was also produced by Joshua Welton, and, you know, I like songs like Mac on it, and 1000 X's and O's are pretty good. But to be honest, the production that Joshua Welton did on this particular album is much more in tune with modern EDM and J-pop and things like that, which I happen to have heard in a recent article for either Rolling Stone or Entertainment Weekly, that EDM was not among Prince's favorite things or musics at all. So I really don't have any idea. Maybe it was the health problems that perhaps killed him Don't spread rumors. Nobody knows anything yet. But this album is, frankly, a lot of it is kind of below Prince's ability. So a week after he died, the local record hunt I go to, called Bull Moose, announced a new Prince album was coming out. And it turned out to be this, his second title release, which was released last December, but just had a CD release a couple of weeks ago, called Hit and Run Phase 2. This is an album recorded with the MPG and produced and written by Prince, and it is nothing like the first album. This is the last album of new music we'll probably be hearing from him, unless he recorded something after this that we haven't heard. But songs like Baltimore, he recorded that as a tribute for Freddie Gray. And one of the singles I told you about was also released on here, called Rock and Roll Love Affair. And the guitar shredding of Screwdriver are great, classic, upbeat, fun Prince rockers, but the funk, oh my goodness. 2YD, Stare, Big City, the jazzy funk of Groovy Potential, Black Muse. This album gives up the funk and doesn't let go. The band is jamming. This might be one of Prince's best albums since Musicology, if not Sign of the Times or something like that. It really has the Prince live band flavor that I always loved about him. And these particular records, let me open them up for you. They have his face on the CD art. On both of them. I'm not going to show the CD art for that because they're cardboard sleeves and they're kind of hard to take out and in, but I'm sure those of you who have had them have actually already seen them. Now, looking back at my earlier videos on my Prince collection, a lot of them are of really poor quality. The audio dips in and out, and some of them might even sound like that guy at the beginning of 1999. Don't worry, I won't hurt you. You know, I always love that intro, but I don't want to sound like I only want to have some fun. And that brings me, of course, to another issue with the Prince videos I did. The earlier video I did on Prince's 70s and early 80s material, it got yanked off YouTube. That's another problem with Prince. He kind of died with me mad at him, you know. Why didn't you put your stuff on YouTube? You know, you had so many opportunities. It wasn't rebellious. It wasn't a good decision, but I'm not going to get into that. That's personal. And I'm hoping that that will change now that he's dead, and hopefully they'll realize what he did in his life. But I intend to redo those 3 videos with the better quality equipment I have, and maybe do them a little more in the sense of breaking them up into certain phases and making several more videos than I actually did before, but redo that content with better filming techniques and with the better camera that I have now. But this represents the last quartet of albums that Prince released. Now that he's dead, they'll probably work out some ways to put out more material from his vault in the future, but this sadly is Prince's epitaph. The last one unexpectedly being posthumous. So R.I.P. Prince Rogers Nelson. I hope to hear more from the vault out here, and I hope your music gets back up there on YouTube and back up there online. Title isn't enough. Title isn't enough. We need your stuff. Prince, wherever you are, we need your stuff. Prince's family, we need his stuff. And so I hope you enjoyed this. If you don't have these albums, pick them up, especially these two. These two are amazing. These two, but these two are amazing. Artificial Age and Hit and Run Phase 2. Pick those up. Full of funk, full of Prince's feel, full of great rock stuff. And I'll be back next time with some revisits of my earlier Prince albums. See you next time.